All right, all right, all right. We are back. We are back. We are back. So we're going to continue from this morning. And this time we are going to get into those programs and helping you decide which one is going to be right for you. The main programs we're going to talk about in this particular session is going to be Silhouette Studio, Photoshop, and Canva. But I know that there are going to be some Cricut users, and there might be some other programs that you guys have an interest in, that you've kind of heard about and just kind of want some perspective to know if the professor has considered using these programs. What are my thoughts on them? But we are going to mainly focus on Silhouette Studio, Photoshop, and Canva for this particular discussion, as far as like the information that I prepared to discuss for this particular discussion. Okay. All right, hold on. I got to move this box because it's in my way. All right, and let's go ahead and make sure that we are streaming, and that the audiences are all set on all of our platforms. All right, so we're not on only me. It's going to friends, but we're going to change that, make it public so that you guys can share if you do desire to. So we're going to go share. Excuse me, Mom. Oh, wait, okay, no, my bad. I was like, did they take it away? But no, I think they took away the at, oh no, I have at followers. Okay, it's back. I think for a while it was gone there for a second. So we're just going to go ahead and share now. Let's get this shared out in my group. All right, let's see. Let's go share group. And one more. I don't know if that one did add everyone. All right. And let me do one last thing and we are going to get started. All right, there we go. So I had to go grab my phone, oops, so that I can stream on that other platform. Okay, there we go. All right, all right, all right. So we're going to get into, oh, yeah, I mean, it was on there. It's been a lot of talk. I'm actually glad that they rescinded her rejection. I mean, her ejection in her fines and stuff. So that was pretty cool. But I'm going to actually go over to here and to my site first. and then we're going to move on from there. All right. So hello. Hey, honey bun. Incredible greetings, everyone. So my name is Shakia Lavelle Pericles. I'm also known as Shakia the Professor. That's what most know me as in these creative streets for about the past, like 4 years. I think I've gone by, simply the Professor, but Shakia the Professor works as well. And I have been teaching online for a decade. Like I'm in my decade era. I cannot believe that it's really been this long, and I've been teaching for a decade, sharing my experiences, my ups, my downs, they said like the highs, the lows, the things that worked, the things that didn't work, like for at least for me. And I still like to share the things that didn't work for me, things that I don't typically like to do, because it might be something that somebody else wants to really learn or want to do. For instance, the all over shirts. Now, I have shown how to do that a couple of times. That's not my ministry to do it. I'm not a big fan of the all over shirts in general, right? Even if I had a large format heat press and a large format printer, I don't think that I would personally do a lot of the all overs. Like that's just not my thing. And I'm definitely not the person that feels like, oh, because it is Sublimation, this is what others are doing, I need to add this to my lineup. It's just something that I don't like, I don't care to do. But even, more on that, I don't have a large format heat press or printer. So if I needed to do them, I have to print it out in sections. I have to press it in sections. You have to move it and twist and turn it. When I used to, my old setup, like I really couldn't do a lot because my heat press was like right near the wall. So, your heat press has to be set up in an ideal place. And like, it's just a lot of things. Although I prefer not to do that, I have still taught others how to do. Like if that is your desire, I'm going to help you the best way that I can. I'm going to give you, the highs, the lows, the good, the bad, the ugly of it. I'm going to make sure that you are well informed about this thing that you think you want to do, because, when you see people doing it, you think that, man, this must generate a lot of money. This is like so fun. Like this is a way to, to put me on the map. Some people feel that way. So I have still shown how to do it, even though it's not something I actually desire to do. So when people ask me questions like, well, how much do you charge for this? I don't do this. I can teach it to you, but I have no desire. So I'm not keeping up with the, I'll get questions like, someone wants 30. How would you do this? How would you price it? And my answer is always going to be like, especially if you want 30, like all over shirts, there is no easy way to there's no way to shorten that process where it's going to make sense for me to give you a discount, because it's going to be the same amount of paper, the same amount of presses, the same, cost for the shirt. You might save a couple of cents here and there if you purchase like shirts in bulk, but that's normally if you're buying the shirts like by a case. So like if they're doing like 30 of all of the same size, you might be saving a little bit buying the shirts by, the case. But for the most part, you're not saving anywhere. So I don't for stuff like that, I don't offer discounts. I don't offer like this bulk things where you get multiples of X, Y, and Z. There's a certain way I kind of do things where, let's say if it was just like a shirt with just words and I'm normally doing it with vinyl, I can offer a discount if you're doing more, because then I can do like screen print or screen print transfers. So it's little things like that. And I've been teaching that for 10 years now, from the design part of it to the marketing, the branding, websites, how to take, we've had a whole business course on, on this creative or craft business, as you guys like to call it, or just customs business, where I'm giving game on, hey, if you don't have a website, you can still be great. You can still be organized. You don't have to be stressed. This journey of monetizing the things that was a hobby for you before, it's crafting for you, it's skills, it doesn't have to be stressful. There are ways, like, some people think, oh, well, if I get a website, it's going to be less stress on me. All a website does is you don't have to physically take money. You don't have to send out an invoice, depending on how you have your website set up. They can go on there, click it, pay it. Hey, it's done. You can see it there. It can help you stay a little bit organized because you see what's fulfilled, what's unfulfilled, you know, like what all you have to do. But there's still ways that you can be very, very organized, like without websites. And so we've had classes and sessions for that. I mean, I can't think of anything really that I haven't taught on in the past 10 years. I'm always asking you guys to challenge me. Let's see if there's something that I haven't, taught, and to figure out if there's a way that I can either do like a quick live session if it's not something that warrants a full class. But it's on you guys. I need to know what it is that you desire to learn. What is the next step for you that you want some information on? But if you guys don't ask, I can't either get the information for you or give you the information that I have based on my experience. But I love to teach the design part of it. Out of everything, showing how to put together a chip bag or how to do a centerpiece. I love the videos I did when I was showing you guys how to do basic and simple columns. I've done candied popcorn. I've done pretzels. I don't think I've done Rice Krispie treats on a live. I don't think I've done apples on a live. I think I did Oreos on a live. Like I did like that in a demo once. So I've done so many things. Whether it's a live video or pre-recorded. We've done stickers, we've done magnets, we've done just labels, we've done, I can't think of anything, yard signs, I've done canvases. Oh gosh, let me think, what else? I've done glitter cups. I don't do resin, so I can't necessarily say I did that, but I remember when, Best Uni, she sent over some of her epoxy resin, and I did that on live with Patrice from Craftable Things. So I did a little bit of like epoxy and resin, but that's not my ministry. Like don't have a desire to do those things. I don't have a really like yearning desire to do a lot of rhinestones outside of cheer bows. But I can teach you how to design it, because at the end of the day, all of those things that I named, they are connected via the design part of it. You can't get to those things without some sort of design, whether you have designed it yourself or you have a template. And templates aren't always as plug and play as people make them out to be, because you still have to know in whatever program you use, you have to know how to size or how to bring it in. That's what I said. I said, well, it was UV resin. What I said, epoxy resin. What I said, did I say UV resin? But yeah, it was UV resin. But you have to know how to size. You have to know how to move things around, reposition them, because as you bring things in, your ideas may change. You're going to bring something else in. Well, how do you now put that to the back and move something? So there's so many things like that you have to learn in the design part of it in order to get to the final product. So I focus a lot of my trainings, a lot of my live videos to the design part. So I'm like, I know some of you guys probably want to see the actual assembly or production part of it. But I'm like, in my mind, it's all the same. Like, it really is all the same. I saw someone that was like, oh, I really want to learn. Like, that's what I want to learn. I want to learn how to do gable boxes. So I asked the question, hey, have you ever printed anything out? Have you ever cut anything by hand or with an X-Acto knife? Have you ever cut with like a cutting machine, like a Cameo or a Cricut? Have you ever done print and cut? And she was like, yeah. I said, if you do know that, that means you've done a gable box. You have all the skills that you need to do that. All it is now is, hey, what's the measurement of the front of this gable box? All right, so if that rectangle is 8x5, you're going to make an 8x5 rectangle. And the same thing, the same techniques, the same processes that you did to design a shirt, you're going to do the exact same thing in this 8.5-inch box. Then you're going to take that 8.5-inch box, if you can fit more than one, like on a page or whatever, you're going to print that out, or 8x5. You're going to print that out. You're going to cut it. If you're either going to cut it by hand, or you're going to use your cutting machine. And you've used glue before, right? You've used a hot glue gun, you've used double-sided tape, you've used these things. Guess what? You're just going to use that and put it on this gable box. You've designed one. So for many crafters, you have everything that you need to be successful, to do all of the wonderful things. What sometimes is missing is my superpower, and it's the design part. See, someone says designing, what's wrong with my mouse? There we go. Designing is hard for me. And my goal is to make that part of it a little bit easier, right? Yes, you have done a lot and you teach a lot. So my thing is, I want to help you guys with designing. Let's, I have over 2 decades, almost 3 decades of experience with designing. I wasn't always like the greatest designer. I still think I have a long way to go in my designing now. I'm more of a minimalist designer. I don't like a lot of things, and I like a good, now don't get me wrong, I love a good text effect. Like I like for my text to pop because I prefer to design with words and text. Like that's my comfort zone. So there are some things that I want to be able to do design wise and stuff like that. But I look back to where I started. And although I absolutely love Facebook groups and what they bring to the industry, what they bring to the community, it allows you to see things kind of, in an instant and just be in awe and just see all of the creativity and the skills of different people, like someone that's in a different country, a different state, clear across the country from me, someone from the West Coast to the East Coast. You get to really see the different design styles and what resonates with the Midwest versus the South. Like you just get to see all of these different types of designs. I live in Miami, Florida. Don't nobody here care about, what is it called? Is it Highland? High something cow? What's the cow? Somebody help me out here. Is it Highland? Is that the little like hairy cow thingamajiggy? Is that what that is? It's called Highland, right? Or something like that? I know it's something with an H. That much I know. Also, y'all don't know what that cow is either. See, but and I'm in some groups and they are everywhere. Like people go nuts. Let me see. I'm gonna go to Creative Fabrica. Okay, see, and someone is saying, I've never heard of it. I don't know, never heard. So I'm going to show you. And that's the thing, right? Like some people ask, well, what is it? Like, what's your top seller? And in some of these groups, it's that Highland cow. So I'm going to go here. Let's go to Creative Fabrica and let's type in Highland cow. Thank you, Danny. It's these things, like these type cows. And they are literally like everywhere. This is such a popular thing in so many areas. But here for me, like, so just because someone else is saying, okay, yep, I'm so like, you'll see them, they have all these sales, but they're in an area where people like this, they don't care what it's on. Like, I want all the things with it, but that's not the same for every person. I mean, even, just being on this screen, taking me to like, as far as like designing, there's a difference between vector designs and like full on graphic designs and stuff like that. And each one of these on here requires a different type of designing. It's a different type of designing. They may all, like some of them can start with a sketch, a vector. When someone is drawing, they are basically creating like a vector format of something. Now, if someone is painting, that's more of like, the equivalent of like a raster or like a full-on graphic. It's done with, brush strokes and paint, and it's not something that you can easily like trace and things like that. But when you're drawing and you're sketching, that is basically like vector. And a lot of things will start off as sketches and things like that. And then you take it into a different program. So there's like a bridge between Illustrator and Photoshop. So Illustrator is how you would go in and create a lot of these hand-drawn things, or you'll use a drawing tablet or like a Wacom pad, and you're going to use a pen, and it's like it picks up on the pressure. That's how you would easily feather things off. Like all of those little things where, let's say like it's an eyelash. It's thick at the base, it gets thin at the top. A newbie would go in, and I'm just going to go to Silhouette Studio. You may start with, let's just say like an oval, right? And I'm going to come here. We're going to go corner. We're going to bring this in like that. And I'm just going to cut off the bottom. Oh, come on. There we go. Right? So someone who's like new to creating them, you don't have access to it, you may create your lash like I just did there, right? You need to be able to adjust the edit points, and then you're just going to take, well, probably need to be a little bit thinner than this for like an eyelash. But there is a, there is a world where you don't have to do all of this to create something like this, right? You can use a Wacom pad and it'll probably be a little bit smoother. You put pressure, more pressure to make the line thicker as you feather it up. And, there's just different ways of designing. And you may start off one way, and then you have to take it into a program like Photoshop to then add colors, add highlights, add shadows, using blur effects, things like that, right? There's some of these where you'll have the vectorized version and like the full color version, and the one that has like shadowing and like brush, like each program serves a different purpose at the end of the day, depending on how you want to design. As a graphic designer, most are just taking pre-made images and they're bringing them in, because you want to be able to do more designs faster. Like in the actual graphic design industry, you want to be able to produce more, because the average cost like of a design is not like really up there to where, hey, I spend an entire day making something, or I spend, let's say, for a full suite of something, like, or just creating like all of these things. If you're not going to be someone that's going to put it out where I'm going to sell it potentially to thousands and millions of people, and I can sell it for like $5, $1, or whatever. If I can get to 1,000 people for what took me a week, I can make $10,000, right? If you can actually get 1,000 people to, to buy that, or not 1,000, 10,000 people to buy it at $1, right? You can make $10,000. That's how some people think. But if you are just designing like for a company, or you're, let's say you're doing like a shirt, you're customizing these different things for people, you're adding all of the splashes, the backgrounds, it's just for one person. We can barely get them to want to pay for the cost of the shirt. They don't want to pay $20, or if they're going to pay $20, they're going to pay $30. They want the design fee kind of like built into it. But that's something that takes, it's a separate service. So imagine if you had to create every little thing for that design. In the big, like the grand scheme of things, for major companies, it comes to graphic designers, they need them. They don't want them, working on one design, and I have to give you a week's pay, and all you've done is one design. Okay, I need you to produce more. I need you to produce every single day. I need 3, 4, 5 designs every single day, even if they don't use them. You can't go and create from scratch at that fast of a pace, like, and have it really be quality. So even graphic designers will have graphic packs that have different elements in it. And what their superpower is They can take all of these different graphics, bring them together, rotate them, change the color, change the transparency, pick the right font, pick the right colors, and it conveys a message. But they didn't go and draw every flower, every star, every circle, every pattern. They didn't go and take picture or make the clouds with a brush. Sometimes it's taking pictures and then vectorizing them. Like, there's so many steps to all of these things that you see. Imagine making a shirt for someone and you had to draw this from scratch just for that one shirt. So you're drawing it out, you're putting the polka dots on it, you are adding all the shading and color, and then you still have to mix it with text. That would take a really long time. You will always feel like, man, I'm not getting paid enough for this. I'm not charging enough, compared to being able to go in and find an element and you're just arranging it. So that's a level of graphic designing, and you're just putting the design together. It's like when I was doing event planning, I would tell people there's a very big difference between event stylists, event designers, event planners, and event decorators. Those are 4 different things. They're not all the same. Now, you have some companies where they basically encompass all those and they're able to be all of those different things, but they're different. Not sure if any of you guys remember David Tutera in his show. He was great. He was a celebrity, event planner, and he can plan out events. He has these super wild ideas. He can take your small idea and make it really, really big. And he had the connections. He knew the right companies. He had resources to make this thing come to life. But was David out there putting down centerpieces and linen? He has his own linen, but he wasn't out there to where his company was making linen. He's going to get it from somewhere else. His company wasn't making candy apples. They're going to outsource it to someone else. He had florists that came in. He wasn't the one doing every single thing. So he was an event planner, and he brought in the different resources. He hired the decorator. He hired the stylist to make sure that everything was styled right and how it looked for pictures. He hired the coordinator to make sure that there could have been somebody on his team. So having an event coordinator and just making sure that everything is checked off. These are all different jobs. It's the same way when it comes to designing. You don't have to be the artist. A lot of the times, artists are not the ones selling the end product. They're going to dedicate their time to creating the elements that they can sell to the masses. Now, if that is something that you desire to do, you can do that, right? If you love designing, you might not love, trying to sell a $20 shirt to one person, but I can definitely take this design that I spent an hour on, and if I can sell it to 25 people for $2 for that same amount of time to make the thing, I can now make $50. If I sold it to 25 people for $2, this design that I did, I can basically make $50 off of it. Or I can design this and it's for one person and I barely got them to pay $25 for that shirt. And I still had other things. I had other expenses. I had to get the shirt, get the media that's going to go on there. I had to use electricity to cut it or to press it and things like that. So at the end of the day, you're not really making $25. But when you have digital products, you can pretty much, it's a very low overhead, but it still can be a lot of work because that means you have to be on it to create designs all the time, and you have to find the market for them. But each program just gives you a different level of being a designer or being a full-on artist. I had a class on our website, and it was for how to create SVGs. We went through and made a cupcake out of shapes. I literally taught them how to make, I'm saying, is the picture on here? Hold on, let me see. Oh no, I don't think this one has, No, it doesn't have the pictures. But if I go to HS Ink Digital and I go like to mouse ears, I mean, this would be being an artist because I created all of those from scratch, changed the colors, the shading, different things like that. Where are those darn cupcakes? Where are they? Okay, let's see. No, not that one. Where in the heck are they? I'm definitely missing some stuff. Okay. Oh, wow. All right, let's see. Mouse. Why is that not showing up on my website? Is what I want to know. That's not the one I want. Oh, that's definitely not the one that I want. What is that? What was that one called? Oh, I gotta go back through my website. I'm missing some stuff. Oh yeah, 48 products. I definitely have more digital products than that. Man, I can't. Let me see. I can't think of the name of it right now. That had the little cupcakes on it. But basically, in that class, though, I showed them how to create those cupcakes from scratch, how to add like little faces on it and do all of those things. So you are essentially like you're an artist at that point because you're creating every element from scratch. All right. But as a designer, as long as you know how to bring in elements, like you can make this. If you know how to curve text, if you know how to trace, you don't have to know how to fully draw out Florida. It's already out there. But how can you trace that? You know, Disney's castle is out there. You can trace that. Or, you know, maybe find SVG. Now you even have to trace it. You're going to find the SVG, bring that in. And now you're just arranging it. Silhouette Studio will allow you to create from scratch. And if I had to create this castle from scratch, I can do that in programs like Silhouette Studio, Illustrator, Photoshop, because it allows you to manipulate shapes. In Canva, you wouldn't really be able to, like, you have to have those elements already. There would have to be an element that was like an elongated triangle so that you can go and like stack it because you can't curve it. And like those shapes have to exist on that platform already. Or you would have to do things like, let's go over to Canva real quick. So let's say, I'm just going to open up a new one. If I brought in like a square, right? And then I bring in a circle, I'm going to make this circle white and place this here. We're going to duplicate this on the other side. We're going to rotate this. Actually, let's duplicate this one and rotate. I'm going to try and create a point. I have to move it strategically because you can't ever like disproportionately adjust in Canva. All right, so I would have to create like this, but of course, those elements are still there. You can't subtract, you can't erase it. You like, there's no way to remove anything. So if I wanted this to look like this, I now have to like go in, create it. Then I would have to save this as a PNG, bring it back in to Canva to then be able to start using it and arranging like, and using that as like my point. Or, you know, if I needed it to go out a little, like you cannot modify things directly in Canva. Like people say, oh, but you can, you just have to do it and save it. That's a lot of work. And again, hello, we just said time is money when it comes to designing. So you can't do designs like that, like designing from scratch. But if there's already a castle there, you can definitely put it all together and things like that. So Canva is great for plug and play. Canva has a lot of elements in it. And yes, you can create some amazing, amazing setups. They have frames to be able to add pictures to, but you are limited to what the elements that Canva has or the elements that you can bring in. Like, well, that doesn't limit you, but you have to create it somewhere else and bring it in. Like, it has to be ready to go. You cannot manipulate anything in Canva. Make sense? Let's see. I have a design. Oh, hold on. Someone's at my door. Please hold. I have to do some memory roses. And so she was just bringing me the roses. I'm not like y'all. Some of these people that say, I don't let nobody bring me nothing, baby. Bring them to me. That's the one less thing I have to worry about. I just, as long as they know, like, it's for sublimation, it's sublimation ready. Bring them to me, and I will design it and I will press it to it. I am not that person that's gonna be like, oh no, you can't bring me anything. Not I said the cat. Bring them on. I allow people to bring me shirts and everything else. I just have a disclaimer about it. And I'm only human. So if something gets messed up, I'm not replacing it. Like, that's my only thing. But anywho. Okay, so I have a design that I was tasked to make it into rhinestone designs. I do have Silhouette Studio Business, but the file they sent me, for some reason, I cannot trace it. I've tried and I can't get a good trace for some reason. If you could do a live on that, that would be great. I can send you the file. So if you are enrolled in any of my classes and you are in the student union, that is a perk to where if you guys send me a file, I can do a video, within the student union. It's very, it's normally something like, if I'm kind of looking through and I feel like it's something that's good, like I can show kind of like quickly, like how to do something. But it might require you, like, so you can definitely send it to me, the professor at hsink365.com, and I can always just let you know if it is something that you're not going to be able to do a simple trace on, and you have to then learn how to do point editing, or how to use shapes, and then like how I did here. So I'm going to show, like in Silhouette Studio, that same thing I just did in Canva. I'm going to do a square. Let's just make it the same color, purple. And then let's take an oval. I'm going to go ahead and just make that white. Oops, I said make that white. I'm going to do the same thing I just did over in Canva, where I bring that up. I'm going to bring this up. Okay, so that's like kind of sort of the same thing I just did. So I can come in here and I'm going to go subtract. Boom, it cuts out, right? So for what you're doing, if it's not something where you can use edit points and like go around and draw it out, you may be able to utilize different shapes and like start off with the shape and then put this shape here and cut it out to, like, it may take that much work to now digitize, to vectorize it. Because in order to do rhinestones, it has to be a vector file. It cannot be a rasterized file or a bitmap file, such as a JPEG or like PNG and things like that. It has to be vector. If it is something that is very detailed and very complicated, that's going to be a little bit harder to do in capturing all of those details. Then if there's like details, there's a lot of details like on the insides and stuff like that, you're going to have to also know how much spacing you need in between the elements, because something that is a simple line, so I'm going to just make this really thin line, right? Something that's a thin line, once you go and you make it into a rhinestone, that is now extended. So the next thing over can't be like right next to it, because when you go to make that a rhinestone, it's going to be right up against it. If I did this one and I make it a rhinestone, it's now going to overlap. So that's what I'm saying. Something like that requires a lot of times like detailed training, and I'm doing my best now to where I want to kind of like just demonstrate some things, but not go into what should be full-on classes that I should really be getting paid for. So rhinestones can be kind of tricky because it's not just the image. If you're creating from scratch, it's now math involved too, because the distance is going to be different if it's a 6SS versus a 10SS or a 20SS. You know, you might look at a design and it looks like, you know, it's set up like this, but once you add stones to it, it may not, you know, have the same look and feel, and it needs to be spread out a little bit more so that it actually looks like individual lashes in this case, you know, because that's the look I was going for. So that's what I'm like, that one, it's a little bit harder to just do like a quick video on, because rhinestone design is rhinestone. If it's something where it's about, you know, you have to manually trace it, I can let you know that. I can, you know, show certain things like, hey, this is how you manually trace, which I have tons of videos on how to recreate something from scratch and how to manually trace it and create all of those shapes. So you would have to put that work in first, which sometimes can take hours and hours and hours to do. It can take days to do. And then you have to ask yourself, is it worth it for this one shirt? Is it worth it for this one order? Hello, hello. That's exactly why I'm backing down from creating design for one shirt. It's not cost effective. Thanks for addressing that. Now, if it's selling that design to others, yeah. And that's what I really look at designs on when I'm creating designs. You guys may not always see them as templates where I'm selling the template to you guys, but I technically, I have a lot of templates. And I will have something, I'll create for it. And the next time I need to go do something for something else, guess what? I'm going to open up that file that had that element that I probably spent forever and a day on. And I'm going to now use this in a new design. So I don't always sell quote unquote templates, because you guys probably wouldn't even understand the way that like they're kind of arranged. Like, to me, they're elements. A template for me is just having elements and just knowing the exact size. But I like to create, and if it's something it's going to take me a really long time. So even though it's like one shirt, in the moment, I know that I'm creating this in a way where I can use it over and over again. Like when I just did the primary, I did the primary composition notebook, like type paper. I had that. Like I've done that in a design before. So I didn't have to recreate that from scratch. I just pulled it from somewhere else, you know? So that's kind of how I approach certain designs. I try to do them where I know I can reuse these elements later on. My last message didn't come out right because I use voice text, but I can't get a good trace on the design for some reason. It won't let me. I've tried, and I don't know how to improve the quality of the design to get a good trace. Again, you still may have to manually trace it and use edit points. Hello, hello. My apologies for a redundant question, but how do we know if we are part of the union? Is there a fee that needs to be paid? If you have signed up for any of my actual like full on classes, none of the design challenges, Design challenges do not qualify for access to the student union. If you have enrolled in any of my classes, when you go into your dashboard, there's something there that says student union. It's a Facebook group. And all you have to do is go through there, put in whatever, the code and stuff is. So if you want to know if you're in it, you just search on Facebook, student union, and our group will probably come up. But you just have to have enrolled in in any of my classes to get access to the student union. Let's see. Do you subtract the cost of blanks from your actual price? If they bring it to me, yes. And only what I would pay for that item is what I subtract most times. But I also say this. Okay, let me back up. That would be my advice to someone else and how I used to do it, where my recommendation for you is going to be to simply subtract the cost of that blank. I no longer operate that way. But when I talk about how I operate, most people feel like, oh, no, I could never do this. I could never do that. That's like too much work. So for me, on the back end, for me, all of my things are itemized. So I think I operate kind of like a print shop. So if someone brought it in, I know what that cost would be for me to just do a setup. So I'll have a setup fee because it's going to be something that's easy. Like with these roses, I just have to take the picture and crop it to, the rose, like the face of it. And then, pick the right color for the rose and the background and stuff like that or whatever. So that's all I really have to do. So there's a setup. It's not something that's going to take me hours and hours to do. It's just verify the colors and things like that. So there's a setup fee for that. It's not really a design fee. It's just a setup fee to set that up. I've already calculated and I know, how much paper I'm going to use or ink for this. So print wise, I already have a cost to print a sheet of paper. If someone wanted to order prints from me, because we allow that, right? We have people that send us designs all the time and we print out. So we have print services. So how much is it for me? What will be my cost to print that out? Now it's my overhead for the business, my labor, stuff like that. So the way I structure prices for things like that is different from what most crafters, and I'm doing the air quotes, how you guys approach pricing. Because you're in these groups that tells you just do ×3. Oh, you got to pay yourself, but they're not really telling you or instructing you on what that really looks like. Because every task in your business isn't the same amount. It's not like going on a job. You go on jobs and it doesn't matter what you do, you're going to get paid the same amount of money no matter what that task is. When you work for yourself, when you're doing something so detailed, it is a little bit different because there's going to be some things that are worth more money. It's not okay, so what it would cost to be a server or to make a filet mignon in a restaurant isn't the same as making a burger in McDonald's. So, there's not a lot of care. There's not this high-end, experience to where, look, I'm not going to pay you, $25 an hour to throw some patties on a grill. But now in a 5-star, restaurant, and the grade of meat they have, all that's going to be different. And when you're an entrepreneur, especially in our space, you're going to have some tasks that are McDonald's level tasks, right? And you're going to have some tasks that are 5-star restaurant tasks. So they cannot operate. They cannot have the same price. You can't charge the same for a Birkin as you would something in Target. So you have to know in your business, what are those tasks? What are those processes that need to have a higher price point to it versus ones that's going to be lower end, especially if you're servicing everyone, right? You want to service everybody. You want the high end, you want the low end, you want the, that's going to haggle you on. I mean, y'all may not want them, but those are the ones you get. And you're still trying to you're trying to price where it's appealing to them because you don't really have an audience. You don't know who you're selling to. So you have to determine what are going to be those lower end processes, and you're going to price them at a lower end, and what's your high end. So for me, and being in this for so long, these are skills that I have acquired. Like I know how to work those numbers. So when I get stuff like that, it's nothing for me to know exactly how much that's going to cost, even if it's not listed on my website. Hopefully that made sense. I use some of your fan templates for t-shirt designs. Yeah, exactly. Like I advertise them as fans because that's what people are looking for. But I've always said, these are just designs. You can use them for anything. For an order of mixed youth and adult DTF shirts, would you recommend one size DTF for all tees? And I know now, why is it that when I come on, my title was to go over programs. Now y'all want to come with the questions that so now y'all letting me know that I have to come on and talk about something totally different to get y'all to ask me some good questions. Because we're supposed to be talking about design programs. Now, if I would have came on here saying, hey guys, this is a Q&A, we're going to talk about, just drop your questions. I get absolutely no questions, none whatsoever. But I came on here with an agenda and a purpose to talk about design programs before my freaking Photoshop class. Now y'all want to come with all these other questions. Y'all, ooh, you know what? Oh, I love y'all though. I love you. I love you. I love you. It really depends. So how many shirts are we talking about, right? Like that's one of the bigger like that's a big thing for me is how many shirts are we talking about? Something like DTF, because you are setting up that gang sheet, you can easily count out how many you need and you can arrange them on there. And sometimes it'll be better for you because of like spacing. It would probably more cost effective to size it based off of adult and youth. If I'm doing something like screen print, it's one design, that's it. And you have to pay the setup fee. So for something like that, yeah, everybody's going to get the same exact thing because of that setup. DTF is very unique. You are creating that gang sheet. So you can decide if you want them to be different sizes. If you're going to do that, my recommendation, because certain sizes can look similar, but they're not, then you have to go through the extra step of, okay, let me at least put some type of marking next to it so I know that this was for an adult large or adult medium or kid, youth small or whatever. Now you have to keep up with that. Now there's more stuff that you have to cut out and cut away and do. So how much work do you want to put in on the back end? If you make them all the same size, it don't matter which one you pick up. But if you go and you're doing different sizes, after you go and you cut all of these out, you would now have to separate them, put them with the shirts, make sure that, okay, it's the exact amount. I'm not like just going and going and going. And damn it, now the one that I have for a large, I put on a small, and now I don't have another one. I only have the one that's for a small. Is this going to look weird? It's like now you have all of these things. How organized are you? Is that something that's real? For some people, they will go and do the extra work because that is important to them to feel like that might be their unique selling point, right? In that if you go to any other crafter or you go to any other print shop, any other, t-shirt company, they're not going to give you the option to customize the size. I talk about this a lot about when you go into a store. If you go into Walmart, you go into Target, you go into any department store, and you look at graphic tees. I don't care if it's an extra small all the way up to a 3X. That design is the exact same. They're not customizing it because these are bulk orders. They're doing hundreds and thousands of units. They're not customizing that, right? If you go to like big print shops, like when like with the Heat, when they're printing out all of these shirts and stuff for the stands, they may have different sizes, but the screen print is going to be the same screen print. They're not going to pay for multiple screen prints in different sizes, and then they have to remember to change out the screen and stuff like that. Some companies are like that. Hey, everything's going to have the same exact size. On some shirts, it's going to look big. Some. Now, if you're someone, it's like, hey, with all those other companies, you're stuck with one size. Here at L&M Enterprises, we will customize each design to where it is proportional for that size. Now, if you have an audience where they want to pay that premium price for that, you can offer that service, and that can be your unique selling point, because you are not going to just give them one generic size. You're going to make sure that proportionately it looks the same on all shirts. So it's okay, but see, I answered. I guess I'll keep it simple and do one size. There we go. All right. Oh wow, thank you so much, Teresa, for helping us get halfway to our goal of 100 dinos. You gave us a gift of 50 dinos. Thank you so very much. That lets me know what I'm saying is resonating with you. It's helping you. So thank you. All right, let's get back into these programs. Okay, so Silhouette Studio, free, right? The base program is free. What you saw me do there, now the rhinestones, hey, that technically is not free, but you can create your own customized rhinestone design by simply arranging these circles yourself, right? So let's take this little shape that I created. I'm going to just make this circle. I forget what it's supposed to be for certain stones. I want to say for 6SS, this is about, wait, is this 6SS? Yeah, this is 6, and it's about like 0.1. All right, so let's just say that that's the circle for 6SS. And I'm just going to make that blue for now. And I'm definitely going to have to zoom in because that sucker is small. So I can come over here and I can fill this in 6SS stones, fill it in, right? I can also fill this in manually. So many people think that you have to have business edition or designer edition to do rhinestones. You really don't. All you need to know is, what is the circle size for 6SS? What is the circle size for 10SS? What is the circle size for 16, for 20? That's all you really need to know. And you can now create your own version. If you want them to be closer together, more spread out, you might be able to fill in those gaps a little bit better. So I'm going to take this, and I mean, hell, we even have the replicate tool. I'm just going to go like this a couple times. All right, I might take this one and let's move this over, and we're going to align this that way. And let's see how this ends up looking. All right, definitely need some more. So we're just going to, I'm going to replicate. Give me a few more. All right. And so that's almost the same amount of spacing. So let's just do 1, 2, and spread those out. All right, I like that. So now I'm going to group it, and I'm going to go above. And actually, no, let's delete this one. Okay, there we go. So now I'm going to do, okay, wait, no, let's duplicate this one. We're going to make this a different color because I already have my spacing. And, what are you doing? Why are you not duplicating above? Okay, that's kind of weird. All right, let's just do it like this because that's not, you know what? Let's just Alt And I'm going to bring this right here. Or, you know, those who have taken my class, we know about like the replicate tool. Why are you not duplicating? Like, I'm so confused. Okay, I ain't got time for that. I'm just gonna do like this. Way too many. Let's come up to here, delete. I'm probably gonna delete like 2 in here. And let's space this. Okay, that's probably about right. So I don't need these. And then everything up here, I'm going to ungroup. I don't need any of these. So it's not that it's impossible to create a rhinestone design from scratch. It's just more work. When you pay for designer edition, it was click and you're done. If you don't have it, you have to manually create it. You have to know what to delete, what to move, and you just have to go in here and basically just do it yourself. So with paying for designer edition, you're paying for, you know, convenience and you're paying for time saving. Where it was just one click. Here, we now have to go in and let's see. You see, it's kind of spread out where they had the one here. So this one, they put one there. We can probably, see, I probably can squeeze this in, put, let's see. So you may have to do like some manual spacing. So here, instead of it being so close together and it being linear, we might move this over and then redistribute that row to where it still goes to the edge. So you can still do it. It's just not one click. You have to manually create the thing, but you have to know how to work the program. Or you just buy the upgrade through my link. But Silhouette Studio will allow you to do that. Technically, Canva will too. If you wanted, like, let's say you had, we have this here, right? If I wanted to now go in and make a circle, I need to now make this, was it 0.1? So I got to make that point. Come on now. There we go, 0.1. I'm going to go ahead and just make that a different color just so I can tell the difference. Oops. Hey, nobody told you to go like that. So I would have to create a bunch of duplicates. Oh my God. Well, you can't. This doesn't allow you to duplicate how I did in Silhouette Studio. So I have to keep clicking Alt and duplicate. So it'll definitely take longer. Can you do it? Yes, it's still manual, but it's even longer in Canva than it is in Silhouette Studio. So they have distribution here as well. So we go spacing, and then you're going to do, I don't want vertical alignment. Where is the, wait, why is it not giving me horizontal alignment? Because these are all horizontal, people. Why is it not giving me horizontal alignment? That's kind of interesting. It will only let me distribute it. That's weird. There we go. But see, up here, it just had vertical. But when I right clicked, it gave me the horizontal alignment. So I can do that. I can group it. And then we're going to. So you can do it manually, but Oh, there's, but you have to open up over there. But there's normally one here for space. So maybe that's just for text. I don't remember. But you could technically create it. And because it's a shape, you could then save that. So once you have it like all set up, you wouldn't need any of these elements. These would just live and just be in the shape. And you can save this as an SVG, and it's going to open up in Cricut Design Space to be able to cut those circles out for rhinestone. It's just you have to manually do it. Okay. You could, people think that you can't do rhinestones in Cricut Design Space. You can. It's the same method. All you need to know is the size of the circle for each size stone. And then you're going to go in and manually arrange them. Like have your, whatever the outlines, have that be your base. If you want to do someone's face, you're just going to go and create them and duplicate them and arrange them. Do the ones for the eyes, and you can create rhinestone designs in Cricut Design Space. You can create them in Canva. It's just not a click of a button. They don't have just an option to click a button and it does it for you, but you're still able to do it. It just takes more work. The thing though is, just because it takes you more work, right? This is kind of where that gray line of, yeah, it's going to take you forever. But should your clients suffer because you don't want to pay the fee to be able to get the program where it's a click of a button and it's done in a few seconds? Is it really a lot of work if you have, it's not a lot of work if you have the right tools. So should your customers go and pay top dollar because you wanted to do it manually, but the market cost for this is not that high because there's so many resources to just click a button, but you took 3 days to arrange this and make this? Should your customer pay for those 3 days of work because you did it the long way? That's not the part that, like, when I talk about that stuff, oh, people don't like to hear that. Oh, the professor not trying to help us make no money. You know, she want us to stay broke. She don't want us to grow. She don't want us to excel. She's not preaching, okay, yeah, do this and charge them. Oh, yeah, it take a lot of work to do this. So you got to know your worth because it took you 3 days. You can't be working for 3 days for free. Well, boo, you didn't have to work 3 days. You could have gave them people them $50 and or for business, you could have given people them $25 and you didn't have to work all day, but you're trying to hold on. Oh, no, I'm not going to do this. I can do it myself. We have that mindset. Or a lot of crafters have that mindset about a lot of things. Some stuff, it's, I mean, I get it. If something is like somebody comes in, it's like, okay, this program, yeah, I'm going to be able to help you, but my program is $10,000. My program is $5,000. My program is $2,000. Then it's going to be like, do I really need that class? I don't know how fast I'm going to make back $2,000 or make back $500. Is it really worth it for me? I'm going to figure out how to do it myself. Some classes ain't nothing but $25. I know this one girl. Her name is Shakia, the professor, right? She has some dope classes. Keep them real affordable. I mean, once you learn the skill, you kind of cut through some of the red tape, you'll be able and you'll be equipped to, you know, get orders and get sales with that thing or whatever. And these classes are really, really affordable. I mean, she got classes like $23.65, $33.65, and you can literally flip that and make more money. Now, yeah, she got free YouTube, you know, you can go there, but you can always have questions. You might have some questions. Did you know that when you take a class with her, you are never left to your own vices? You can watch a YouTube video. How many of you guys have watched a YouTube video? It was from like a year ago, 2 years ago. Great information, but you have like one little question. You post a question. Those people might just be collecting their check and they're not even active. There are so many YouTube channels where the creators are no longer active. They're not checking for no comments, nothing. They've got to a point to they're monetized and their content will live forever and make them money forever because people are going to search for it, but they're not active. There's companies that you guys buy from right now. They have YouTube videos. You post a comment on it, they're never going to come back and answer a question. But you go and you take a class, and when you have a question about those things, like, man, why is it not working for me? You know, is it my glue gun? Is it this? Is it that? I tried to do X, Y, and Z. And if you paid, you get access to the student union, you can ask your specific question and be able to get help. If that's, is that not worth investing in a class when you know that it's not just, okay, I paid for this class and now I don't get any help? We have a community of people ready to help you when you sign up for our classes. All right, so Photoshop. This is a class that we're doing tonight. Tonight we are going over, we're still in the effects. So I gotta have some things that we're gonna pull from Creative Fabrica so that you can see effects are already made, you know, really looking at all of the different effects that go into design. So we're going to break that down. So we're going over color overlays, embossing, pattern overlay, glow, gradient overlay. And I have some things that we're going to look at from Creative Fabrica. We're going to go over some blend modes as well, because I pull some like overlays from Creative Fabrica and some other places. I'm going to show you how to use the blend modes to be able to make things kind of like pop. So that's what we're going over tonight in Photoshop. If you don't know, Creative Fabrica, we have a link for it. If you are not signed up for Creative Fabrica, and this broadcast inspires you to sign up, make sure that you guys utilize our link for Creative Fabrica, and help, you know, and it'll give us credit. We get a very small commission when you guys sign up, but that always helps the platform. All right. But Creative Fabrica, which, where's my thing over here? Actually, no, I think I probably pulled it up over here as well. Yeah. Wait, no, I didn't. Let me see. Where are we at? Okay, right here. So if you type in the word Photoshop, okay? Let's go to, well, that's actually a class. Those are classes. Okay, I don't want that. Let's go Photoshop. Layer. I don't know, on here they call them layer styles or effects. Okay, layer styles, right? So we go to bling. There is, it says ombre, mermaid, layer styles for Photoshop. Let's kind of just see if they have a big picture. I mean, this is all basic stuff. This is some outlining, some gradients, which in the craft world, you know, you guys will say ombre gradient, same thing. That one isn't like a really good, like, yeah, I want to go to, let's see. I mean, this one, I actually have this one's pretty cool. It is some pattern overlays, but how you make something look raised is like your shadows. If it is embossed, what's the word? Dissecting or taking a design or taking something like a layer style and reverse engineering it, looking at the final one, like the final product, and then going through and seeing, okay, what all did they use? If I take this one away, how does it look? If I take this away, how does it look? If I add, like, that's how you learn how all of these layer styles work. So that's actually what I'm going to be teaching on tonight. So this is something where to get this effect, you would need Photoshop. You're not going to be able to utilize Canva to create an embossed look unless you're using, like, you have Pro and you're using like the, what's it called? Magic Morph, and it's using AI. So that's whatever AI produces, whatever AI gives back to you. Sometimes the colors are so off. Oh man, I was in a group and the person was like, well, what do I have to put in? She was trying to get a specific shade of, was it gold or rose gold or something like that? And it's like, it's going to produce anything. Like no matter if you put gold, if you put metallic gold, reflective, you're going to get all these different results. And it may not be, some people were telling her to put, instead of putting like yellow gold, put Vegas gold. And she's like, but it's still giving me the same result. Because you're trying to use AI. It's pulling from things that already exist on the internet and it's trying to like create it. Versus when you learn Photoshop, you can create the exact color gradient or the exact color like overlay that you want. You can emboss it. How much of an embossed look do you want? That is the benefit of Photoshop. A lot of your favorite elements in Canva was created by a graphic artist in Photoshop. A lot of your favorite elements as a graphic designer was created by a graphic artist in Illustrator or Corel Draw or even Silhouette Studio to create like the flat part, like, where it's flattened. Anything that you want emphasis on, there are certain programs that you have to use. That's your Photoshops, your Procreate, your Affinity Photo, things like that are programs that allow you to, really have that raised look and things like that. Other programs allow you to create amazing designs, but they're flat. All right. So we are going to go through some layer styles. We're going to go through some overlays tonight. Not the fine art overlay. I want regular overlays. I just meant to hit enter. So all of these things, some of them are just PNGs that photographers either took the picture or someone used like different brush strokes and they did it on just a plain canvas and they saved it as a PNG and it's just an overlay. Some things like this, it's a JPEG image, but there are blend modes that you would use. So if you look here, this is going to tell you, you're going to get JPEG. Well, this is definitely not PNGs. And that's another thing too that drives me nuts about some companies. Like they'll put PNGs. This is not a PNG. There's nothing transparent about it because most people, when they think of PNG, they're going to think of transparent. Oh, my husband's home. He didn't have the job fair. I wasn't expecting him until about 7 o'clock. Yes, that means the little person is not going to disturb me when my class starts at 6:30. Awesome. But these are really going to be JPEGs. They are elements too. Like there's elements and, there's like light effects and then there's a dark background. And then when you use the blend modes, it looks like this on it. So we had this before, this right here, before the blend mode had a black background. Depending on which blend mode you use, it blends in with the photo and you can still change the color. So things like that is what we are going to go over tonight. This cannot be done in Canva. So I'm always saying, what is it that, like when people say, well, I want to learn Photoshop, they think of it as like the holy grail, but what is that you want to do? Because if you're going to use it the same exact way that you're using Canva, the same exact way that you're using Silhouette Studio, where you're taking pre-made elements and you're just bringing it in, there's no need for you to pay monthly for Photoshop. There's no need for you to try and learn Photoshop. But if you already know, like, I want to take my designs to the next level, I will design and do my base layers in Silhouette Studio all the time. But if I now want certain effects, I have to go into Photoshop. Photoshop is great for things like this and doing blend modes to have different effects because you cannot. Silhouette doesn't have a blend mode. Canva doesn't have a blend mode. Cricut Design Space doesn't have a blend mode. You have to use a program that has different blend modes in order to get this effect. Okay. Being able to brush things off. So when we're like, oh, how do I soften the edge of, how do I soften the edge of a design? How do I make it where it's not just a box? Here is where Photoshop will come into play. Now, some will say, oh, no, you just put an overlay on it, get it distressed. Where do you think that distress was made at? Where do you think that distress element was made at? that we use. And yeah, it's a frame now in Canva, but it was created somewhere else before. It doesn't just magically appear. You can't create that distress in Canva. It was created somewhere else as an element that can now, as a vector element that can now be used as a frame. You put your image in it, and where those edges are, your images are just, it's just going to be cut off it's going to cut off at those edges instead of it being straight. But it's still kind of rough. When you're using overlays, it's still a sharp edge to it. It's not blurred off. It's not soft. It's not feathered. You cannot get the feathered look in any of those programs. You need something like your Photoshop, your Photopea, your Affinity Photo, I believe Procreate as well. You have blurs to feather things off. So each program offers something different. If you are someone that's like party, like you do party favors, right? You want that same exact effect, but for a different name. Photoshop is great for that because those layer styles stay. And no matter what font you use, no matter what color, you just retype the word out, change the color. All of those layer styles remain, and you will be able to easily change a name. So Photoshop is great for, so like when I say the word templates, I think you guys automatic, like a lot of crafters, I'm gonna say you guys, because it might be some they don't, but a lot of the craft community thinks of something that's like ready-made, or they're thinking about like a full design for a shirt. Like they want a chip bag for Minnie Mouse, and all they want to do is just change out the name. Like that's how a lot of people think of templates. But a template, I use a quote unquote template for my, is it here? My thumbnails for, so even my product like thumbnails, I started using Photoshop for them because if I wanted everything to match and I wanted to now change this from Formula B Sublimation ink and now I want it to say Incredible Pigment ink, it's going to have the same look to it. So I'm going to go Incredible, and then instead of Sublimation ink, I'm going to type in Pigment ink. And that's all I had to, I just had to change that. When I've done like different advertisements for sales and promos, I can go in there and they all have the same look. I keep the same that's what I'm looking for. I can keep the same formatting and not have to worry about constantly changing it. So for me, Photoshop serves a very specific purpose. Silhouette Studio serves a specific purpose. Canva serves a specific purpose. You have to figure out what their purposes would be in your business or in your creative journey. Does Photoshop have the option to remove a background without removing part of the design itself? Yes and no. So when it comes to that, no program can guarantee that, because what these programs are doing when they're using like the background, they're searching it. They're looking for contrast. If the leg is by an area and it's almost the same color and the system can't tell the difference, like your eye can tell where that break should be. What were we on? Was I on TikTok? And I think I did remove background, but because her hair was dark and the background was kind of dark. So it did its best to kind of like maybe say, okay, this should be her hair, but it squished her head. So I had to go back in, and even though I can't really tell the difference, it probably was the background, but it looked better to fill that space in. Your neck, like your eye is going to pick it up differently than a computer program. So you still need to have those skills to where if it doesn't remove everything ideally, you know what to do to go in there and now clean this up. We did that not the last class. with the Angel Reese, like, you know, with those. We had to clean up something like along her thigh. And it was something else. I forget what else we cleaned up on that image. I showed them where if you just use Photoshop's background remover, the results were, ooh, but then like remove background or remove BG gave better results. And that's why I will keep my subscription forever, because it gives us better results sometimes than Photoshop's. Canva's background remover is nothing more than Remove BG. They acquired that company. They brought out the parent company, which is what, Paddle, I think it was, for Remove BG, and they brought them out. And now Canva owns Remove BG. So that's why their background remover is very similar to Remove BG. Now in Photoshop, the other thing that we discovered was, well, that they learned in the last class, the automatic button to click on the background remover, it gave horrible results. But then if we went to select subject and then now go to select and mask, it gave a better result. That's actually how we got, so this right here. So I'll even show you. I'm just going to go remove background. Let's see what it gives me with this one. I don't remember. So this one wasn't that bad. So I don't know why. Like, see right here, it's not bad, but it removes like really weird areas. And if an average crafter would see this, oh, okay, remove the background, and they'll go and they'll save it. And the moment they take it into a different program and you put a pink background, it's like, wait, why am I seeing this? Because you're not paying attention that the background remover took this away. Now, is it easy to bring that back? It most definitely is easy to bring it back, but you got to know how to do it. Let me see. Let me disable this. Okay, yeah. So see right here, that wasn't a part, and I thought so. That wasn't a part of her uniform. That's a part of the background, but it wasn't enough contrast between it for it to remove that part. So let me see. Enable. So this part needs to be like fixed and disable. So I think it took away part of her ponytail. Yeah. So, I mean, I definitely could benefit from bringing back part of her ponytail. Her hair looks a little weird up there. Yeah. Oh, yeah. See that? It really did not do a good job, like on her hair, even on her, like, I mean, really around the edges of it. It's not that great. But then if you do like select and mask, you can refine that a little bit better, have it feather out a little bit better. Sometimes Remove doesn't give good results. It's because of the image. Like no matter what program you're in, you're still going to have, you may have the same results because it's just using AI. That's all it's using. It's using AI to determine what is the foreground. And then sometimes people want like certain things removed and not others. Like you can't pick and choose. Like you're clicking on it and it's going off of that system. It doesn't really know what you want removed and what you don't. But they also give you the ability to restore things or erase other things. Have you used that on there or Remove BG? Have you gone in and edited to where the areas that it took away and you want those areas, you are able to restore those? And if there's an area that it did not take it away effectively, you know that you can actually brush that in and remove it. So no program is going to be 1000% accurate because it's going to be hard for it. It doesn't know you, doesn't know your style, doesn't know what parts you want to keep, what you want to take away. It can be a great starting point to where you don't have to go in and do everything. Like you may just have to do some touch-ups to it. So you're still going to have to learn the software so that you can do the touch-ups. Some images though, like, I mean, I can't think of something right now. I don't think I have anything open right now. But there were some of them where, baby, it was not cute. Let me see if let me go into this smart object. Okay, so let me see if I go background remover on this one. See, look, it couldn't tell the difference. So it took away a lot of her hair. You still have this person here. It's not that it's bad. You wouldn't go and say, oh, well, dang it, this didn't give me what I wanted. Let me go to this program and see if it gives me a better result. Let me go to this program and see if it gives me a better result. The better thing would be, let me learn how to fix this. How can I finish this off? It gave me a great starting point. I didn't have to go around it with my pencil. Back in the day, there was no remove background button. We were taught at Barbara Goldman in the graphics classroom how to use your pen tool or quick selection and go around it and create your selection and then remove the background. There was no little button that we clicked and it's like, okay, it's just removed. You still have to know every single program. I can guarantee you, if you're looking for a background remover that's going to be absolutely perfect every single time, you are setting yourself up for major disappointment. Major disappointment. All right, so I got to get ready to go. And that's y'all's fault that I didn't. It's a couple of things I kind of wanted to talk about, but this is kind of a good starting point. Any questions for me? So I'm going to open the floor for about 10 minutes or so. If there are no questions that come in, hey, this will end in 2.5 seconds. But if you guys have questions, I'll give you time to type it in. If you have one, just say, I have a question. I know to wait for you to post your question. If I don't see, hey, I have a question, I know not to wait. And we're going to close this out so I can go and start to prepare for our Photoshop class. While you guys are formulating your questions, I'm going to go ahead and do a little promo, a little shameless plug right now for our Photoshop class. If you use Sezzle, you're able to enroll for, I want to say it's like $30, and you can attend tonight's live class. You get the playback for the first 8 weeks that we did. You'll get access to all of these sessions and the playbacks of them, all of the learning material. Just going to go onto our website. You're going to click on the Photoshop class and you're going to add it to your cart and then join. You're going to, if you're brand spanking new, you've never taken the class with us, you have to also look for the email to our Academy site, because that's where the classes are hosted. That's where you're going to get your link for the Zoom sessions and things of that nature. It's on your dashboard for 365 Creative Academy, but it's easier to purchase it here, especially if you need to break it up into payments, because our actual Academy site does not have an option for like Sezzle or Klarna or any of those like buy now, pay laters. So we do it through our main site so that you can break those payments up if you need to. So you can do it through Sezzle, you can do it through ShopPay, you can do it through PayPal, buy now, pay later. Or if you got the 123.65, you pay that straight out. You're going to get your email for your confirmation. If it's your first time taking a class, you're going to get the email to complete your registration to our Academy site. You go on the Academy site, go into your dashboard, and boom, we'll see you at 6:30. Okay. You are very welcome. All right. No questions. No one said I have a question. No questions. We're going to close out. Thank you guys so very much for joining me. Hopefully I will see you guys in a class. If there is a class that you would like for the professor to teach, if you want that professor spin on it, you want my experience, my knowledge, and you know how if you've ever taken a class with me, you know that I break it down. If y'all think that I break stuff down, like I really break it down in like live videos or, YouTube videos, you need to experience a class. But if there's something that is like, I would kind of like to learn the professor way of doing it. It's a class that you haven't seen me do. We're always open to suggestions for classes. I want to be able to help you guys with what you want to add to your offerings and your company and things of that nature. And if it's something I'm experiencing and I feel comfortable with teaching it, hey, we can put that on the docket. We can put that in the lineup. But I just need to know from you guys. All right. So thank you guys so very much. Until next time, have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity and be incredible. Peace.